Hey folks, new viewers, Advanced Knife Bro here. Now if you don't know anything about the channel, yes, that is my legal name, and I have also been a longtime Leatherman fan. And that sound you hear right now is the sound of the fun and the life leaving the room, and the sound of people who enjoy 15 to 30 minute content centered around knives and everyday carry gear entering the room, and there's 10 of them. The fun and the EDC fans cannot be both in the same place at the same time, okay? Now today's video is a full examination of the ARC and its tool set, which sounds appropriately like a medical procedure, and then how the ARC is different and the same than other Leathermans, and compare it at length to the Leatherman's best tool, the Wave. And if you don't like this kind of content, well, you've been warned. Now for some history, my pocket survival tool, or the PST, was my first decent knife tool, which I bought for set construction in film school back in about 2001, 2002, I'm not sure. Film school was integral in preparing me for integral on this channel? Film school was integral in preparing me for a character building 25-year student loan repayment, holding down various $8 an hour unrelated jobs in the real world, all whilst applying the knowledge I learned in film school into being a D-class YouTuber, which is something I don't tell anyone about in real life. And if they do find out, it feels like I've been caught red-handed in a crime. Now today's video is for the ARC. Now the internet tool world is abuzz because it seems they combined the popular Leatherman Wave with the magnet technology of magnets, also found in the Free series, and put a high-end steel in the blade and improved it as a standard on the tool, which is why it costs $240, whatever it is. Is it any good versus the Wave, versus the P4 that I reviewed a while back? And is this really the best use of your time? Well, folks, before we get into the real fun on Multi-Tool Hour, let's take a look at some basic dimensions. Now, as far as Leatherman's tools go, I take no pleasure in saying I have a lot, because I collect them, and as I list them, you will age about 3 years. Now, plot-wise to this video, this part is to establish that I know Leatherman tools fairly well, and have used them quite a bit over the last 20 years. I have 2 Waves, the original and whatever it is before the plus, just the new Wave. You have Crunch, a few super tools. I think I got the 100 and the 200, or do they have a 100 and the 300? I don't really remember anymore. The Rebar, the Raptor, Juices, several of those, some Micras, the Skeletool, the Core, the PST2, the Side Clip, the Flare, the Side Kick, and a few others I'm forgetting. You know what? I even have the Charge TTi, prior the kind of like the high-end one you could buy that wasn't part of their garage series or garage sale line. I don't remember what it's called. Now, if you are unfamiliar with the Charge Plus TTi, it is like a Wave, but with squarer, more uncomfortable titanium over steel handles. It's like they're like titanium overlays. It's not like it's made out of titanium. And an S30V blade. I think the cutting hook on the serrated is about the only difference in the tool set between the Wave, and I've never once taken advantage of that. Of course, there's the replaceable wire cutters. However, those have been on the Wave Plus for a while now. With all that said, about the only upgrade on this Charge TTi Plus is the main blade steel over the Wave and the titanium overlays, which is not really an upgrade. It's just like they're putting titanium on there to make it more expensive and make the ergonomics worse. That's the only thing I can think of. They must be looking at the titanium crowd. They're like, look, the knife crowd likes titanium. We're going to have to put that on there. Like, who cares? I think there's an aluminum version too, which to me makes more sense because it is a reduction in weight. Now, I have an original and a new Wave, and I believe it is Leatherman's best tool because of the versatility of its tool set relative to its size. You'll always have the people who like a very specific tool that isn't on the Wave, and you know, they're like a little Victorinox. Yeah, okay, I got a lot of the Victorinoxes too. But in reality, if you need that specific tool and you use it often, it's better to get that specific tool. Welcome to Basic Logic. An important part of the ARC, though, is the magnet shit, first experienced in the Leatherman Free series, which were not free, they were more expensive. I don't know why they call it free, because it's like calling a social media site X now. It's a word that means a lot of other things. So, like Pepsi free, free drugs, free bird. It's not like you can free your hands. You still gotta use a hand to open it. I don't know what's free about it. You free the magnets from one another and it breaks open? I don't know. Now, a few years ago, I reviewed the Free P4, which in my opinion had an overall less versatile tool set than the Wave. It costs more, and the one-handed opening gimmick on the pliers and tools wasn't something I ever considered a drawback on the Wave. It did have a goddamn awl, though. However, for my purposes, I have never done something with an awl that I couldn't have also done with the tip of the Leatherman knife. Sure, there's the awl cult out there, and I'm not a member, but, you know, they probably wouldn't take me at this point because of all the negative stuff I've said about awls. So to me, my first unvarnished assessment of the Arc before today was I would call it the Free Wave Plus. But Arc sounds cooler in market tests, so they went with that. Now you have magnets and Magnacut, all right? Okay, that's a big improvement. Magnacut, which is a current hard-wearing knife steel that's popular with all of us virgins out here. The Arc also features a reconsidered tool set, you know, like it's like the P4 was the trial run. And this tool set is similar to the Wave, but with key differences. And I don't think any of them are negatives. Now, about the only thing I don't like about the Wave, and just this is over years, I think I'm on my second Wave because I lost one. About the only thing I don't love about the Wave is I can never seem to keep the main 420 HC blade to stay sharp. You know, I'm sure it has some sort of heat treat, but overall it has some of the lowest edge retention of any knives I own. It's super easy to sharpen though, but it just, you know, you got to sharpen it kind of often. I've heard variations on the heat treat on these and just because I read forums over time, and, you know, some people get better wearing steel. But, you know, I own like 100 pocket knives, so I've solved the low edge retention on the Leatherman problem, okay? I usually carry my Leatherman in my bag and then a separate knife. Whatever I'm feeling that day. Anyway, let's take a look at the Arc. What is this paragraph for? I thought we've already taken a look at it, a-hole. With its all-locking tool design except the pliers. Now, I don't think the Wave is particularly good-looking, and the Arc is more of that late-model Leatherman design. Does a multi-tool need to look good? Probably not. You know, personally, I think the original PST represents the best version of a Leatherman design. It was their first tool, so they spent a lot more time on it. It's like sometimes the first album is the best album because it's the one that all your creative ideas go into that one. And as modern designs go, maybe the Bond and the rebars seem to maintain a classic Leatherman spirit, and then some of the other ones are a lot busier looking. Now, I don't think the Arc looks any better or any worse than the Wave. The Wave is kind of ugly. It's just different. You know what? I think maybe the Arc looks a little bit better. I'll take that point of view. You know, I kind of like it, okay? I just had some character development there in that moment. But what about the basic tool set? So right off the bat, the real main difference is we lose one main tool. Leatherman ditched the serrated 420 HC blade on the Wave and replaced it with a larger set of scissors. That's a good move in my opinion. Now in theory, a Magnacut on the Magnacut main blade on the Arc is a much longer wearing steel than the 420 HC Wave blade, so you'll sharpen it less, so you don't have two of them to do the job. And anything a serrated can do, a straight edge can do better. I mean, not always, but maybe rope cutting, silicone pipe, cardboard. There's going to be one guy down there who will say serrated is much better for a specific type of material, and he'd probably be right. But if you cut that material often, you have a specialized tool for it. It's better, if you do the one thing, to buy the best version of that tool. Treat yourself. Multi-tools are about efficiency, and over the years, the scissors for me got a lot more use than the serrated, and I probably could have used the straight edge for most of those things I use the serrated for. So other external tools. You have the file, which functionally seems the same as the Wave. It's diamond on one side and a standard file on the other side. Is the bastard file, the really hard texture one. I wouldn't call this a bastard file. But it's fun to say bastard file. In fact, that's just really the reason I said that. It's just a standard file. Diamond and standard file. But the file is a different profile, slightly easier to open and close one-handed on the Arc. It's still kind of awkward, though. Now, saws are about the same, too. A touch easier to close, opening one-handed on the Arc. However, it's still awkward one-handed. Both of them are. The only one that's not awkward one-handed is the main blade. Now, same with the scissors. Kind of awkward to open and close one-handed, but doable with practice and plenty of dropping it. However, though, it really comes down to what hand you're opening them with. To make the opening of the main tools less awkward, you'll need to swap hands depending on what side the tool is on, main blade included. Some tools open better with the right hand, some tools open better with the left hand, depending on, if you're right or left-handed. So for me, any of the tools I have to open with my left hand are always going to be more awkward because I'm right-handed. And if I try to open a tool that's better for the left hand with my right hand, I'm going to look like I have serious motor skill problems. Like this. Wow, that was a word salad. Again, other than people with accessibility issues that require one-handed opening, I tend to try and have two hands free when using tools. Which is fine because the one-handed opening on most of the tools on the Free series is kind of awkward. Now, the scissors are beefier than the Wave, but a little less pointy. Seems like an upgrade overall to me. You know, they're bigger. But the main upgrade, though, is the blade, which is a pretty big upgrade, and it is attributed to some of the cost of this. I think the free was $149. I got a little bit of discount when I bought this off the Leatherman's website because I had a coupon code. So I think this is, what, $249? But the blade is a super steel now, and it's very easy to open and close one-handed on the blade. And Magnacut is like the hot steel right now. Everybody's putting it in all their knives, and it is like, you know, it's corrosion resistant. It's like, it's long wearing. Look it up. Laren from Knife Steel Nerds developed it. Link is in the description. Now the action here is pretty good too, almost fidgetable. The nitpicker would point out and say the edge bevel is a little bit uneven visually on both sides. Serious knife guys, when they spend $200 on their knives, look at shit like that. But it is a tool. And that's the shit knife guys complain about when they overpay for a pocket knife. They scrutinize it more. Also, the top near the edge may begin to rub after some time, but it shouldn't affect the edge. It is a tool, and I hope people aren't concerned about scuffs or blade coatings rubbing off because of tool rub. There was always a little bit of tool rub on Leathermans. It's like on a traditional knife. It's just something you get used to and don't care about because you're the thing. You're not putting this in a... You're stupid if you put a Leatherman in like a safe. The main pliers here look good to me. They're about as pointy as my Non-Plus waves, but wider near the bottom due to the replaceable cutters that the Non-Plus wave I own. Now I'm sure it's similar to the later revision of the wave, but I didn't buy the Wave Plus. There's the old wave, there's a new wave, and there's a Wave Plus, and I'm sure there's like little variations on those. Pliers aren't spring loaded, much like the wave. However, because of the magnets, you know, we know how they work now. The opening of the pliers on the arc is better than the wave. Easily one-handed, which I think might be something possibly in theory that is necessary one-handed. You know, I've used my Leathermans to take down Christmas lights over years, and it is nice from a not falling off the damn ladder perspective to have a free hand for holding on to the ladder. If you have to open on the ladder, that makes a little sense to me. Open and close one-handed with only a little practice. It's kind of, you can kind of flip it a little bit. It's kind of fun. You know, you're gonna bust your knuckles because you're flipping it hard, and you know it may wear on that after a while, but it's kind of fun. You can also break it. You don't have to bust it on you. You don't have to flip it hard. However, though, I know maybe you know this, Leatherman has made sheaths for years that allow you to open the pliers with two hands before you begin to work and carry them open in the sheath as you walk up the ladder, so you can open them before you get on the ladder. So is the magnet shit a gimmick? That's up to you. Open the tool off the ladder seems to be the better idea. Now, as you know, the technology here is available in the free series, and let's call the Arc the best multi-tool using this yet. Now, I owned the P4 for a time, and it didn't have as versatile of a tool set as I said before as the Wave, and I sold it. There are a few other free series, but maybe the only one that kind of interests me is the T4 because of the tweezers, and it's like a Swiss Army knife style footprint. It kind of looks cool. Never bought that, though. Somebody could gift it to me for Christmas, and I could just put it in my Spyderco tool roll, and it stays there like most of my Leathermans. Okay, the internal tools. Now, it's true the tools can be opened one-handed by big boys, but it's awkward, and I don't think any amount of engineering can overcome this. You'd have to have a bunch of extra points. You'd have to be able to feel for it. I don't know. You do save steps, though, by not having to open your tool, look for the one you need, pull the tool, and close the tool, and then reopen and close when you're done. From that perspective, it is an improvement over the Wave. Yes, but like the Wave, not an improvement, the same. All tools lock. They lock on the arc and can be closed one-handed without opening and closing the tool. But when you open, you'll always have them clumped together, then fight to get the right one, and then close the rest. Let's look a little closer, though. Let's examine the tools. Are they better? Are they different than the Wave? Now, some people over the years say, who cares about replaceable bits? You buy your own, bring your own Torx screwdriver set. Well, you know what I have over the years? I've carried my bit kit and my Leatherman in its little sheath, and it has come in handy so many times when I haven't brought my full Weehas, which I actually carry in my bag now. So do I need to carry the Weehas and the Leatherman? Sometimes there's things I need the Weehas for. That's another discussion. But over the years, I've used the bits many times. I like the versatility of having a big flathead and a Phillips and a small flathead and a Phillips. Now, I bought the bit kit extender, and I've used them many times over the years. You can use the same one for the Wave that you use here, and it's one of the big reasons I love the Wave. The Free didn't have these, and it was the biggest drawback to me. I missed a tiny screwdriver big time. Sometimes it's a screwdriver. Sometimes it's a toothpick. If no one else is looking, are you picking your teeth with your screwdriver? That's pretty nasty. And comparing them side by side here, you have the big and small screwdriver. They're a little different in their design, but I don't like in the actual bit holder design, but I don't think there's any real improvements. It's just different for the thing. Okay, what else looks to be an improvement here is the prior, the large flathead on the arc over the wave. It's a little bit bigger, it's longer. You know, you can open your paint cans with it, and then there's the bottle opener too that is on here, and that's different than the wave. The wave bottle opener is functional, but it's never been great because it's the bottle opener and the can opener is the same tool. You had to hit the bottle at the precise angle for it to catch. You had to open it all the way. It was functional, but it could have been a lot better. It wasn't the best bottle opener. Let's do a little testing here, though. Now, the wave bottle opener is okay. You can open a can with it too. And over the years, people are like, oh, you're using the can opener. I've used the can opener before. I don't use them very often. When I go camping and I'm carrying heavy cans of food with me, I can usually carry a dedicated can opener that saves a lot of frustration. These are to be used in a pinch. People tell you in your videos you're using it the wrong way. You're supposed to go clockwise, counterclockwise, and it's different depending on, is it a Leatherman? Is it a Swiss Army knife? What is it? Whatever works for you to get the can open is fine. You can use a piece of concrete if you want. Now, the flat prior on the arc actually looks a lot like a bottle opener, and it is an improvement, although in the official picture, it is not advertised as such. Does it work? Absolutely. Actually, it works better than the one on the wave. This is an improvement, a big improvement on the bottle opener. Now, what I think is the error on their website, I can't open the bottle with the combination bottle and can opener on the arc. It is a different design than on the wave. You know, I think Leatherman was probably testing stuff and didn't update the product photo and the description. I think I've heard about the proto phase, and I think that they had some different revisions there, and I don't think they updated the product description. Now, the only other major addition is the awl. Whatever people use an awl for, that's great. I tend to use the blade tip for most of the stuff I'd use the awl for. Maybe I can take a break from the harder stuff and just use the awl. I don't know. No hole in the awl here, though. The wave doesn't have the awl. I got by without it. So I think, functionally speaking, though, the arc is probably just as good or even slightly better than the wave. There's about a 4-gram weight difference, 4 grams heavier on the arc, but that would be nearly impossible to perceive in the hand. However, the wave does edge it out in one area still. The handle grips on the wave when using the pliers are much more comfortable. There's more rounding, there's less thin strips of metal and steel. Now, if you use pliers all day, you buy a good set of pliers. I get it, okay? I've said that before. Buy the best tool for the job if you use that tool all the time. But all the engineering on the free comes at the sacrifice of the ergonomics when using the pliers. The grip here has thinner parts and more gaps, so the harder you squeeze, your little palm meat gets caught in those places or squishes against them. It's less comfortable. You could use some gloves though. No big deal. I don't think it's that big of a drawback. It's just holding them and squeezing them. You're gonna, the ergo guys and the pocket knife guys, that's, you know, I gotta say that. And then the parts near the bottom, if you're squeezing a little lower for more torque when you're pliering something, is there, what's the right, torquing something? Turning your nutting something, I don't know. They're not sharp, but they can be uncomfortable in some grip situations. Maybe Leatherman will make another product in 5 years with really comfortable handles, and then it'll be perfect. No, there'll be something else, okay? That's all how it is in the everyday carry world. The sheath. Now, if you want to use some sheaths like this one I bought, you'll need to remove the pocket clip. I bought this one off Leatherman's website. It is this right here. It was about $20-something. But as you know, the pocket clip is an add-on on the wave. I have a pocket clip on mine to carry it inside my bag. But here it comes standard and attached, which makes it pocketable if you don't like Leatherman's bulky sheaths. Now, my favorite sheaths are the old compact leather ones that aren't much bigger than the tool. This one for the wave was good, and so was this one for the PST. However, Leatherman's sheaths over the years get bigger and bulkier, kind of like our automobiles. They get bigger every year. I like a sheath to ride lower because I feel like the sheath coming in contact with the pants is better than the sheath coming in contact with the love handles, or if you're twisting yourself around on a ladder or bending or stooping down, you're doing work, you may be moving your body around. Maybe I should lose some weight. Anyway, I'll choose it rubbing against the pants every time. A good sheath rides low, not much above the belt line, and it's smooth and comfortable, not like rough. Now, the included one is well made. It's industrial, it's roughish durable canvas. The nice locking mechanism, it's well thought out, but I do miss the old days where a sheath was as low and as small as it could be and was smooth leather. Not complicated. And even like the big thick leather sheaths, like the really high quality ones, those aren't as good either because they take up more space on the belt. Like I don't like having a lot of shit on my belt if I have to have shit on my belt. Now the one here does include, fit the included bit kit, and it will hold a little flashlight and your bit extension. It's great to carry in your bag, but I would not personally use this on my belt. That's just me. I don't want my love handles being chafed, okay? Pocket clip here is okay and almost a deep carry, but it's not a deep carry. This is about twice as heavy as just like a big Spyderco, like it's 8 ounces. And so in your dad jeans, it's gonna work okay, but you just don't carry other stuff in the pocket. Tool is heavy and it's got lots of areas and surfaces, so there's no way you'd ever want to carry anything else in your pocket or put your hands in your pocket because your knuckles are gonna drag against it. All right, that about does it. Okay, I'm not letting you off that easy. It's already 20 minutes. What's another 5, 10, half an hour more? We have a special guest, Pete from Cedric and Ada Outdoors, a friend of the channel. What are your thoughts on this? You paid almost $400 for it. Was it worth the $400, Pete? Huh? Was it?
Hello, welcome to the Cedric Ada Cross Advanced Knife Bro Edge Retention Challenge. We are doing an edge retention test today on this Magnacut blade steel on the Leatherman. It's a blade steel that's going to last a lot longer than your average multi-tool blade, but is my spoken word of that out my mouth hole good enough? Of course not. You're a person of science. You're a mathematician. You're a believer in the art of numbers and statistics. Why else would you be watching the Advanced Knife Bro channel? So we're going to do a edge retention test. So we like to start with showing the knife can slice through a held sheet of paper like so. Nice clean cut. We're going to cut a scientifically stable material until it no longer does that anymore. Now I usually use twisted sisal rope, but because I want to dial up the accuracy and work in the spirit of the Advanced Knife Bro channel, I'm going to instead be using cans of Isobjorn lager beer. So we're going to see how many cans of Isobjorn this guy can cut before it no longer slices a held sheet of paper. This is, I imagine, a pretty standard metric over in the States as well. I understand you're using the imperial system, not the metric system, so surely cans of beer cut per foot of paper is a NASA-worthy metric to be using anyway. So let's get into it. Let's get started, and I suppose I've got a few in reserve here. I suppose we'll just, I guess, establish a baseline number. So let's get into it. Oh, looks like I wet my pants. You tricked me, Advanced Knife Bro.
Man, a fellow appreciator of science. It doesn't get much better than that. Now keep an eye out for Pete's video, which is going to go live not long after this one. Maybe same day, next day, I'm not sure. And hopefully he really, goes into some edge retention on the Magnacut. Or, you know what? This is the evolution of the knife lab, okay? This is how it's going to be from here on out. All right, final thoughts, in case I need to spell it out for some people. Is the arc better than the wave? Like, should you upgrade if you have the wave? No, don't be like me. Don't buy more multi-tools. And now if you're currently using one of Leatherman's lesser tools and you wanted, the wave, yeah, save your money and upgrade to the arc. Plus, the arc comes with Leatherman's 25-year warranty, and if you break something on it, you send it in, they fix it. Now, what if you break it a lot and then after all the shipping, you've bought another arc? But you know what? How many times are you breaking it? Like, would you need to have like 10 arcs? I don't know. I don't know the math on that, okay? But it's something I think about sometimes at night when I'm trying to fall asleep. I think the arc, though, is probably their best tool.
Hey, what about the Gerber?
Yeah, what about the Gerber? You want a Gerber multi-tool? Here is a Gerber multi-tool. I bought this from Leatherman's website on launch day. Took about 4 days to ship, and it got here about a week after I ordered it. I don't know what to do with that information. Say hi to the patrons. They make this all possible. I don't have much else to say here, but I want the 4-screen thing at the end to go over the patrons. That would be rude of me, but now it would be on brand if they accidentally did because it messed something up there in the upload and tweaking my little settings before it goes live. Anyway, that about wraps it up. So like, subscribe, comment. Thanks for watching.